How you doing, my friend?
Hi, everybody. We're back. Seems like it's been a while since we've spoke to everybody.
I know. We always say that.
We always say that, but it does feel a while.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I think that's because we have been we've been very excited with this next Facebook Live because we have some really great stuff for you guys today. And I mean, I think we've all been kind of feeling a little hyped up today,
We have,
right?
yeah, because this is something very different.
Yes.
Something that you don't get to see a lot. Something that I've never done in my wig career.
I know.
And I think it's going to be really interesting, my friends. If you love wigs, wear wigs, want to get into wigs, have a wig salon, this is the hour.
This is it. And so you guys, in this hour, for those of you who are joining, we're going to be taking you on a factory tour where we make our Raquel Welch wigs. And we want you guys to kind of really get an idea of all the workmanship that goes into these wigs, because we always say, right, that these are not machine made. They don't just get spat out by, a computerized machine system. Yeah. No.
We wish.
We wish.
Yeah.
But they're all handmade pieces of art. And we're going to share that with you today, which I'm really thrilled.
And I think it's something that me and Frank and all of the team here at HairUWear, we explain a lot, don't we, when it comes to ways of colors and blending. And we just thought, why not show you?
Absolutely.
I don't think people realize that these are all handmade.
No.
They don't.
And Kyle was so excited today that he decided to wear his beautiful Chanel brooch in anticipation of the event.
Of course. Got to pull out the family jewels.
Got to dial it up a little bit.
Special occasion.
Got to dial it up. So anyway, you guys, not only are we going to be here showing you the factory tour, but also we have a great guest with us today who has been pandering you all for questions that you may have pertaining to wig design, wig creation. And so all of those questions we intend to get answered for you today in the best, most concise way possible.
Yes. If we can fit it all in, we will.
Yes.
Plus, we have a great giveaway.
We do. We have a great giveaway at the end. So just by answering questions, we're going to offer some trivia questions. We're going to answer your questions just by responding and answering. You're automatically entered to win. And we will tell you about that beautiful giveaway at the very end of the show. But first, allow us to introduce our lovely guest, Miss Erynn Real from @real.wig.fun.
Coming in,
Hi,
my
guys.
friend. Hi, Erynn.
Hi, Erynn.
I'm so happy to be back. I'm so excited for tonight. I'm excited to see the behind the scenes and hearing from you as you graciously sort of address some of the questions that I know a lot of my community brought forward. So this is a unique night that I know, we haven't done before. So I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Right. Oh my gosh, thank you. And thank you for reaching out to all the people who follow you on your wonderful Instagram page to ask the questions that are just burning inside that they want to get answers to.
Yeah, it's great. You're looking fantastic, Erynn. You always are. Your hair looks beautiful.
Yes.
I have to say.
Did you go to the salon to get it styled?
I did. I just got it done. Isn't it gorgeous?
It is beautiful. Funny enough, when I saw you today, it was long and now it's short. It's amazing how it can just change.
My husband never knows who he's coming home to.
who he's going to get.
So may I ask, Erynn, what you're sporting today in this moment?
Yes, this is the gorgeous portrait mode in one of my favorite shades, shaded wheat, which
love. We turned around to shaded wheat,
Well, I know.
You absolutely did. And it is. I love it. I mean, you typically used to see me a lot. It was all shaded biscuit, right? All shaded biscuit.
Yes, indeed.
I know.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful on your skin tone. Nice to have a change. And actually, portrait mode has been a roaring success for us.
Yes.
What a bob. Anyway,
Absolutely.
We can talk about that, but we got more things.
Yes. If you guys want more info on portrait mode, just scan the little QR code at the bottom and you can find out all you want about that. So I think we're just going to jump right into our factory tour. And this is a really important thing for us because normally, this is something that we keep, to ourselves because it's a very personal, intimate relationship we have,
of course,
with our products. And, to share it is really kind of like opening up a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think, and like you say, not many people do this, but I think it's great for people to see because we are constantly explaining why sometimes the wigs can differ slightly, why colors. the time and the effort that goes into them.
Oh, yeah. So do you know that to make a wig from start to finish, that's outside of the design process that Kyle and I do. To make a wig from start to finish, one wig takes 2 to 3 weeks of manual labor. So
I had no idea.
Yeah. So, right? So
unreal.
I really want.
Unreal.
It is unreal. And there's multiple people working on that one wig because they're all specialists in various parts. Some are specialists in the stitching. Some are specialists in the cap. They're trained for that. And then we also have specialists who do the hand tie work. So the whole wig gets moved on to each person's specialty until it's finally complete. And then we have people who are basically hairdressers that we have shown how we like the curl pattern, how it should be trimmed. And they basically copy what we have sent them as a sample to recreate based on what we've designed. So it is quite a process. And so I want you all to really understand when you purchase a wig, you think about the cost involved. It is because you're getting something that is truly handmade, just like custom cabinets in a kitchen, or just like going to a hairdresser and them tailoring, a hairstyle just for you, right? There's time and effort involved. And so you will see that. And so I thought we'd start out with that because people ask that all the time. How long does it take to make a wig anyway?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Kyle and
I were in the fall. We were visiting our Raquel Welch factory, which is in Asia, and we are exclusive. That is the only product we make. We have other brands in our line, and we have other facilities for those brands as well. But this is truly where we make our Raquel Welch wigs. And so we're going to start out with us arriving on site. And well, I guess we should just jump in, huh?
Yeah, and we have to say we go, don't we? We go a few times a year, and we stay there for a couple of months, and there's a lot that goes into it. So you're going to enjoy this.
Yes. Shall we roll tape? All right, guys, we are at our factory here, and we have always talked about, right, how all of our products are artisanal pieces, works of art, handcrafted by humans, not machined.
That's right. Yeah, when we actually say you're getting the bespoke wig, it's all hand done. And I think this has been a great chance to show what actually goes into these wigs.
Absolutely. So today we are making Raquel Welch wigs, and we're going to take you through the paces of just some of the steps of what goes on when we're making a wig.
Yeah, at our factory, and you'll be quite fascinated because I still am, even after working 30 years in the business. And you're the same.
Yes, absolutely. Always amazed. And I think you guys will have a good time. Let's go take a look. So we're in our design room right now. These are where the sketches for the styles that Kyle and I create and want to make all happen. So this lovely team behind us working very hard. Hi guys.
This is the rest of the designers. So they're hard at work, working on some new designs that we've actually come, give our drawings, give our input, excited to see how they're going to turn out.
Yes, so they take our direction, they convert it into a blueprint, which gets followed so that the technicians can then replicate the styles on a mass level. Cool, huh? So here we are, guys, our production office here, and all these lovely people working very hard, getting our spec sheets perfect, making sure that everything is detailed and delineated so that all the details of every wig creation gets noted and cataloged.
Say hi, team.
Hello.
Hello. I just told them they're going to be famous now.
They are. So, this one and myself, we're always saying we use 7 to 11 different blended shades to make every hair color, right?
That's right.
Well, part of that is a hackling, right? So that's when they blend the colors. So what you're going to see here is a blending of all those colors being put together to create the final color. Let's take a look at how they do this. So this is how the color is blended. It gets raked through these fine little needles and twisted and blended, and that's how we get all that nice color blend you guys have come to love and adore, and that's what makes the Raquel Welch color line so amazing.
Yeah, and it's the same process they've been using for hundreds of years since the beginning of wig making. So just like to show how this is just showing again, it's fully handmade.
It's all handmade. If you ever wondered how we get those beautiful highlights and lowlights in any of our lovely wigs, we're going to show you now, right, Kyle?
Yeah, we love this part.
So notice how they're selecting light pieces and blending it with the dark pieces.
Clever, absolutely clever. I'd say skill, fascinates me after all these years.
Me too. So here you can see we're selecting a low light right now. We're selecting a mid-range color, and then of course she's taking the highlight. And this is what we do. We are taking these already pre-blended colors and adding highlights and lowlights, and that is what is going to create the weft and or the hand-tied areas of any of our Raquel Welch wigs. Once the highlights and lowlights have been sorted, it goes into the screen here where it gets thin, and that is how we make our weft. Saying there's a blueprint for every wig, right? That's how they know how to make it. This is the blueprint, which you can put onto one of these caps. All the information goes on the cap, and then the wig starts to get stitched together in order to create the final product. So it's quite a process, as you can see, but very important to get that blueprint just right, because that's what brings the individuality out in every style.
Okay, so now we go into the curling process. So this is the actual blueprint of how we curl the wig. The size of the curl, thickness of the curl, the length of the curl, all in this blueprint.
So these are the actual curling irons, if you will. These are the different size barrels which create the different sizes of the curl. And all of the hair will then be combed and then applied to the actual roller. And that is how we get the lovely wave patterns in our wigs. Once the hair is wrapped in the curling rod, it goes into these ovens and it gets baked. And that is how we lock down that curl. So all of these are heaters that heat the curl just like you would a curling iron. And then once it's taken out of the heated area, the curl gets cooled, and that's how it gets set. So we'll take you to the cooling area. So there it is, going in the oven. That gets locked in. And heat it up.
Okay, so what you're seeing here, this is the dye-in process. The roots are actually getting dyed into the color. So it's like a hot bath, which is dyeing the fiber. Incredible, huh? Woo.
Okay, guys. Very important area here. Once the hair has been curled, you can see all of it has to be attached to the wig cap, right? So this is the posting area. In the posting area, the wefts that have been sewn with the curl pattern now get posted to the wig cap, and the wig starts to fill in now. It starts to look more like a style, right?
Uh-huh. We're starting to get there, guys. Still a process to go, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. So this is the weft getting sewn to the base of the wig now. It's actually a round ball, and that's how they're able to sew in a curved manner. All right, kiddies, this is one of my favorite areas because...
Okay, this is where the magic happens.
This is the magic.
This is the atelier. This is the final pieces to your bespoke garment.
Absolutely. So the quietest area in the house here because everyone's concentrating. But I got to tell you, all of us love our hand-tied wigs. We love the flexibility it gives us, the naturalness that it gives us. Here in this room are all hand-tying experts. They are specially trained to make those beautiful lace fronts, to make our lovely mono parts and mono tops. And so we're going to give you a close-up look on how each one of these is particularly handcrafted, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the breathtaking part. You got to see it.
It is. So just that little bit, one hair at a time. It takes quite some time to craft a full mono top, as you can imagine. So when you think about essentially the cost of a wig, you have to understand all of the handwork and hand labor that goes into it. Well, my background is as a hairdresser, and so for me, this is an equally important step in the wig making process, right?
Absolutely.
This is the styling part, right? This is where they finish the wigs, they take the curl patterns, they've made all of our designs, and now they're putting the finishing touches on the styling on it, right? You know, you and I love to style up wigs, don't we?
This is the part we love, but just remember, yeah, everything then has to be styled.
Yes. So this is where you get a little Frank and Kyle in a box, right? Because we have worked with these girls to show them exactly what we like in our wigs, and they are just amazing at reproducing them. That is part of why we come down here, is to train the employees and to work with the employees and to really let them know what it is that we like, our personal details and our way of doing things, our finesse, right?
That's right. And if you think about it, just look how many styles we have at HairUWear.
Yeah.
So everyone has to be taught exactly how these are meant to look when they come out to the box.
Absolutely. And you can see, I'm going to irk you over, there they are. These are our lovely beauticians, cosmetologists, girls at work, putting finishing touches on these wigs to make them as beautiful as you have come to expect any of our Raquel Welch wigs or any of our wigs in general to look.
That's right.
And so we take great pride in this step, especially, I think, because this is like really when it becomes a style, right?
All the parts of the jigsaw
Yeah.
make sense, and the final product is just beautiful.
Yeah. We'll take a closer look. So here we are. This lovely lady is misting the hair and setting the curl so that it turns out exactly the way we want it. This minimizes the frizz. She's putting a light conditioner on it, and she's also rewrapping the curl pattern in the way that we trained her to do, so that we get this lovely bouncy wave. Incidentally, you're looking at editor's pick being made right now. So once that wig is done, once they have set it, done the curl pattern, it comes right on here on this little rack. You guys see that? The net goes over it, and then the wig is ready to be shipped.
Yeah, this is your final step.
That's the final step.
Beautifully packaged, net on,
Yep.
home to you.
Yes, indeed. Here's your editor's pick, finished and ready to go.
Gorgeous.
All right, so before we go, I just want to let you know, Kyle and I are helping out today. And so we're going to be sending out some of these wigs. We're going to be boxing up a few ourselves today, aren't
Yes, we want to go put on work.
So,
some work.
Yeah, we're going to do some work. So one of you guys might be getting a wig that Kyle and I actually packed ourselves.
It's like winning the golden ticket if you find it.
That's right. See if you can tell which one we packed. We'll put a little surprise in it. So you guys, I would be remiss if I didn't say that these are all the wonderful people who helped Kyle and I bring all of the Raquel Welch collection to life. These are the designers that we have here in Indonesia at our factory, and we are so honored and so fortunate and so lucky to be blessed by working with them, aren't we?
Yeah, talented people. We couldn't do it without them.
Yes. Thank you all very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
Ah, the memories.
Yes, I know.
That was
I
great.
know.
I wonder who got the golden ticket.
I don't know. I don't know. Erynn.
I am honest to God. Okay, so for everybody out there that may think that I had seen that video before today, I absolutely had not. So I am watching it, which I'm really glad that I'm watching it at the same time as everybody else is. And I am confident that there are ladies and gentlemen out there that are as shocked as I am. And so grateful to all of those incredible employees that work so hard. I had no idea the amount of work into one wig. Honestly,
Yeah.
It changes my perspective.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. And that's why, Kyle and I, even with samples that we get back that maybe aren't quite right, we just struggle because we know the labor that we don't ever toss anything. We try to hang on to everything because it's so important to us. We know what goes into those, And so it is quite a process. I'm glad you were able to watch it and experience that too with us, Erynn. And for anybody who's watching it or just came in the middle, you'll be able to check this out on a repeat of Facebook. You can go back to the Facebook page at HairUWear, and you can watch this video again. That'll also be
YouTube.
on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
on you. Yeah, I'm really just think, even when I watch it back, every time I've gone over to Asia as well, you know, it still takes my breath away, because that's still a small part of it. Because Lawrence, you and I are in another room talking design. Maybe something new has come out that we've got to teach them from scratch. While we were there, Lawrence is upstairs, we're showing more stuff. There's a lot that goes on, guys. A lot.
Yeah. But that's what I guess, you know, we take pride in everything, and we try to give you guys the best products ever. And we know you have a lot of questions, because unless you've really been there and you've seen it all, there's lots of questions. You want to know things because you're getting into wigs. If you're just starting your journey, or if you've been wearing wigs for a while, we know you have questions. So we have compiled a list of questions thanks to Erynn, who reached out to all her followers and said, let these guys know what you want to know. So we're going to go through a few of them. We got them grouped in design, colors, and cap sizes. So if you want to know anything about that, we're going to go into that. The first question I want to pose to you as a trivia question, right, is true or false? Can you answer this? Hand-tied and monofilament mean the same thing. Right on in with your responses. Do you think hand-tied and monofilament are the same thing?
We want to see if you're really true wig wearers.
So anyway, I'm going to answer that for you guys. I'll give you a few more minutes. But first, let's talk about, we were saying before, how all wigs are handmade, and therefore they're not all identical. And because not one person is making every wig for the whole population, one of the things you have to keep in mind is that there is an element of variance in them. So if you've been buying a wig and you got a highlight right here in the center and you just love that, there may be a chance that it might not be exactly in that same center spot next time, because someone else's finesse or someone else's ability might alter that a little bit. We try to get as close as we can every time, but I think we do a pretty good job.
We do a pretty good job. And I think the right analogy would be, if you go to the hairdresser, your highlights are never going to be identical. Could think of hair changes, texture of hair, you know. So just think of this like you've taken your wig to get highlights, you know.
Absolutely.
So we want to say this because if you're buying 5 wigs at a time, of course the color is going to be the same, but there might be little changes, little slight differences. Because we get asked a lot, why is this slightly different?
Right.
Well, now you can see why.
You can
see. You know what I would say though, guys? I mean, I'm blessed to be in a position where I get a lot of wigs sent to me, right? So when I look at my, Raquel Welch wigs and ones that I've had, like for example, like my on point, I've had many on points over a period of years, right? And once we've had this opportunity to see the behind the scenes, it amazes me how consistent my wigs are from 3 years ago to today, when I'm getting the same style, on repeat. It truly is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it really helps too, Erynn. We are, HairUWear in general, particularly the Raquel Welch brand, we have people on site who inspect the final styles before they get shipped as well. Our own people who go in and make sure before it even leaves that it's as close as possible to what we originally intended as designers, right? And from the model that they have there. So we do go that extra step too, in the hopes that we can try to keep it as perfect and as similar as the original. So that is important. So you guys, to answer the question, true or false, hand-tied and monofilament mean the same thing. Kyle, what's the answer?
They're completely different.
Yes, that is false.
That
is
false.
So
absolutely false.
Hand to everything, if you're looking at monofilament or you're looking at, hand tied, they are made by hand, right? And as you saw in the video, someone is actually applying the hairs, but there is a slight difference. Let's look at a monofilament top, which is hand tied, and let's look at a hand tied top, which is also hand tied. So I'm going to show you guys. So I am holding right here. This is a hand tied top. Okay. Kyle is, let's move over this way. So here's our hand tied. Kyle is holding a monofilament top. Okay. So if you look at these, they look the same, but they're not exactly. Basically, what I want you to think of, I'm going to sound like my big fat Greek wedding. All the origins of the words go back to Greek, right? So mono, or mono, meaning one. So if you have a mono top, it is, of course, tied by hand. A machine doesn't put that in there, but it is done one hair at a time. If you look at a hand-tied top, there are multiple hairs tied in at a time. So basically what that means is they can finish this a little faster, right, than they can that. This is a little bit more labor intensive. It's got a slightly more natural feel to it and more flexibility in styling than a hand-tied top. So mono top, hand-tied top.
And yeah,
Single hairs at a time, multiple hairs tied in at a time.
yeah.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? I'll jump in here if that's okay, because I'm going to speak for the ladies here that are watching, or gentlemen that are
Yes,
watching.
ma'am.
What is that? Okay, what does that mean to me? Like, what, I get it, and it's an awesome explanation, but how does that change my wearing experience?
Great question, Erynn. So if you were to look at the tops of these, okay, on a monofilament top, because it's single hairs, right, it looks a little bit more natural because hair grows out in single follicles, right? If you look at a hand-tied top, you're going to see a little bit more, the knots are going to look a little denser, right? So they may appear more apparent as opposed to a monofilament top.
Yeah.
So it's just a refinement in technique. It's a refinement in the actual process. So a slightly more natural look with the monofilament, and if you look really close, maybe not as natural with a hand tie.
And that's why we put monofilament here for people who have lost their hair, because if you're up very, very close, this emulates the closest thing. Once it goes against skin, even if you have hair or not, if you don't have hair and this goes against skin, it is incredible. It's the closest thing you're going to get to a scalp.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that leads us to another question that one of the viewers wrote in. They said, what to look for if a cool wig is a top priority, right? So if you're looking for a wig that is the coolest to wear, right, you're going to want to find something that is fully hand-tied. Whether it has a mono top or hand-tied top, you want something fully hand-tied because it just is a more comfortable cap, because it's a more delicate structure onto which the knots are tied. And so it breathes a little bit better, you know, as opposed to, let's say, a wefted wig where wefts are used. So I'll show you the difference. Oh, Kyle's got it right here. Thank you, Kyle.
There you go.
So you can just see these are wefts, and the hair tends to be a little thicker, which means it's a little heavier sometimes to wear than a fully hand-tied. So if you're looking for the coolest cap you can wear, I would definitely say a hand-tied wig.
I would too. And Erynn, I think we spoke about this before. You find this the same, yeah?
100%. And you know what? There is, when I started out on my wig journey, I was watching, you know, soaking up all this information online. And sometimes there's conflicting information. And as a consumer, you're like, well, darn it, I don't know what the right answer is. So because I was hearing, well, if it's got wefting, it's got more airflow opportunity. Not to say that that's incorrect, but the analogy that, you know, a wefted cap is cooler than a 100% hand-tied cap has not been my experience.
Yes.
So I did ask, for everybody watching, I asked Frank and Kyle, I'm like, you know what? I find personally that 100% hand-tied cap is cooler.
Right. And I think essentially, Erynn, to your point exactly, it's not that wefted wigs don't breathe, because open wefted wigs allow the heat from your head to escape.
Yes.
But essentially, overall, the weight of a wefted wig usually is heavier than a hand-tied wig. And the extra weight means you're carrying that extra pressure on your head, which, if you're a hot person, can make you perspire, and especially if you're going through menopause.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And these, you know, your head is still breathing here from the top right to down to the bottom. So what we have to say as well is, my friends, this is what we find and what we've found over the years. But, you know, you can't call it. People prefer what they prefer.
Absolutely.
You know, so we're not telling you what is the best, but people will work it out for themselves, like Erynn has. Absolutely. But I know a lot of my friends who still prefer the wefted wig. Yeah. So you just can't call it.
100%. So that brings us to our next question, which is low density wigs. Everybody's talking about it.
Big topic, huge topic.
Everyone's talking low density. I want a low density wig. I want a low density wig.
There's always a buzzword, isn't there?
There is.
In the wig world, every couple of years, there's always a buzzword.
Yes.
And this seems to be
Yes. So I think we need to define basically first denier versus density. Okay. So denier applies to the actual diameter of the hair fiber. Okay. So it could have a thicker denier, it could have a finer denier. Okay. Essentially, the Vibrolite fibers tend to have a finer denier. So they look more like, if you can say, like European hair, right? Whereas the True to Life fibers have a slightly thicker denier.
Yeah.
Okay. So they kind of have a little bit more body and a little more texture to them. I feel like the Vibrolite fibers tend to be very wispy and light and airy.
Yeah.
But that's outside of the realm of density, right? Because it's density relates to how much hair you pack into the cap. Okay. And you can pack it in by wefts. You can pack it in. You could have heavy density wigs that are hand tied too, if you're putting a lot of hair in there. Usually we as designers decide what kind of style we want to create. And as a result of that, we also determine the density. If we want it full, if we want it thick, if we want it really fine until they're closer to the head. So those things are very important. I think sometimes, and Erynn, I would like for you to like chime in on this if you care. I think people think if they're getting a low density wig, which meaning not a lot of hair in the wig, that they're getting a less volumized wig. So low density doesn't necessarily mean less volume, because you can get a flat laying, smooth lying wig with wefts and density more than you could even like a low density wig.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for example, that leads us to permatease, which we'll get to permatease too. So
that four-letter word.
That's the real word at the moment.
So to answer your questions about density, typically because you don't have wefts, and wefts you have to fill in with a lot of hair, right, to fill out the wig. Typically, you're going to get a lower, flatter, lower density appearance by choosing a hand-tied wig or any wig above and beyond a fully wefted wig.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because fully wefted wigs just need a lot of hair tied into the wefts in order for it to cover the weft, so you don't see it from all areas of the wig. Erynn, what'd you just put on there? Because I can't stop looking at it real quick.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is obviously Raquel Welch's Mesmerized in that same color, shaded wheat. And this hair makes me feel, well, maybe I can't say the word, it just makes me feel that way, right? It's glamorous. I feel the best version of myself in this. It's stunning.
It looks gorgeous. And now you can see that wig has a little volume in it. So that's going to bring us into permatease. Because that's the other buzzword.
I think I'm just sick of hearing the word, to be honest with you. You know, I think it's something that people have hopped on. It's had, for some reason, bad connotations. I don't know why. Because we need it and we love it. And you'd be shocked. If you saw wigs without it, you wouldn't like it. But I think there's it's had a bad run, this word permatease. So
basically, what permatease is when they put the hair into the weft, they backcomb areas of the hair against the weft. What that does is it helps to conceal the wefts so you don't see them. It creates a little bit of a shadow and a little bit of a lift and a little bit of texture at the base so that you don't see through to the weft. So it's essential to not see a weft that some permatease be used in most cases.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think what it's translating to, and Erynn, you get a lot of this all the time, so please chime in. I think people think if a wig has permatease in it, it's a big full mamacita wig, and if it has no permatease in it, it's just flat as a pancake. And that's not exactly true. Tell me, is that what you're getting, Erynn, on that?
100%. And you know what? Like in any industry, in any topic that you're talking about, there's always something that gets a bad rap, right? And permatease is one example. At the beginning of my wig journey, I'll put my hand up, 100% guilty. I was like, no, I don't want a wig with permatease. Why would I want that? Because everybody's telling me I don't. But what I've learned over time is that the right amount of permatease placed in the right spots within the cap is going to drive the most beautiful style. And here's an example, ladies, if you don't like, maybe you don't believe me. Okay, so you saw me wearing portrait mode, right? It was lower density. It's sitting, you know, very realistic to the side of my head. It does have wefting in it. It has wefting, and it has some of that crimping or permatease within these to disguise these wefts. It doesn't mean it fits like a helmet. It doesn't mean it's hot. It doesn't mean like it's too much hair. When you guys have seen me talk about lower density pieces, this style was in the lineup for a reason, but it has permatease. So I'm hoping today that we can sort of better educate everybody, because I know I was in that spot. I didn't know.
Yes.
So it's really about the right amount in the right spot for the style.
Yeah.
Yes. It's really meant to, whatever we use it as a tool, right, to design we want to create. For example, if I had a customer in my chair at the salon and she wanted a smooth bang, I would just make that really smooth and brush it really flat against her head. But maybe she needs some volume in the back. I take my round brush and give it a little lift, or I back comb it a little bit to give her the lift there.
Absolutely.
So we use it strategically to create a style. So I always say, don't worry if a style has permatease or doesn't have permatease in it. Right. Look at what kind of style you like, because we have a lot of styles. If you don't like permatease, if you don't like volume here, then you want to get a flatter one, you do one that falls a little flatter. Yeah. But don't be surprised if you see a little permatease in it. Will you pull out that one wig that we have here?
And I was going to say, remember, a lot of people wear wigs for volume. You know, without the permatease, we don't get the volume. We want to stop you from back combing your wig because we want the wig to be full. Yeah. You know? Yeah, this was a really interesting one. The history of this wig, I think when we were talking before, when this is one of Lawrence's first ever designs.
Yes, this is Salsa.
Okay, I believe it. This is still in one of our top selling wigs, but it's got to be over 20 years old. Okay.
And we brought this out because we wanted to show you Salsa has permatease in it. You can see the volume in it, right? But we also wanted to show you, this is one of our other wigs from Raquel Welch called Watch Me Wow. This has permatease in it too. Look. One is flat, one is smooth, and one is voluminous. Yeah. It's all about how you apply it and where you apply it.
And we were shocked because when this was one of the first wigs that I actually saw when Lawrence brought this over to the UK. Yeah. And at the time, we wanted big, flicky, glamorous hair for a woman who wears hot rollers and wants a bit of glamour. So you'd think this would be one big, heavy wig. Lots of permatease. It's as light as a feather.
Yeah, it's actually lighter than this one, which is much flatter.
Yeah, and it's as light as a feather. So that goes to show all this glamour. It's not heavy, not bulky, but we needed it because this is meant to look like it's glorious.
I think when I look at this discussion and think about how can I help to support my community, is if any of you are listening out there, what I will be talking less about is permatease. And frankly, I made that shift a while ago. I rather refer to how does it feel on my head? How does the style look, right? I don't say, oh, this one has a little amount of permatease or this one has a lot. I don't talk that way anymore on purpose because I know it's got a bad rap. And there could be styles that you're excluding from your wish list because you're hearing somebody say it has permatease. Like, for example, this style Mesmerized is a large portion of this cap is hand tied. There is some permatease and the closed wefting at the back here, but there's volume on the top, yet there's no permatease here, right? Yeah. That's because of volume that they put in the style because it's meant to look like that. You know what? I put it on and I went, wow. Like right?
Glam hair.
It's glam hair. That's glam hair.
And exactly. And there are some styles that we have that are more subtle, that don't have the ba-ba-boom factor, that look more natural, look more. One of my clients used to say, I have skinny hair. It looks skinnier. It lays a little flatter.
More like realistic, everyday hair.
Yeah. So we don't want to belabor the point, but ultimately,
give permatease a break.
Yeah, permatease isn't. It's not a bad buzzword. It's just a descriptor to show how we've developed a style or created a style. So
we need her.
yes, we do. But again, if you know, the reason why this comes up, I think too, is because hand-tied wigs, because they're hand-tied and they're so labor-intensive, are pricey. And not everybody can afford a hand-tied wig, which will definitely give you lower density. So they're looking at wefted wigs saying, I want a wefted wig without permatease. But don't let that be your guide. Look at the overall silhouette, look at your own body shape, your own height, your own physique, and see what works best for you. And then that's how you choose the style you like the best. Don't worry about the elements that make it up.
Totally.
Yeah.
So as you say, some of the first wigs that ever come out in Raquel Welch are still the top sellers. So, you know what I mean? It goes to show there's different horses for different courses.
Absolutely.
It's what you like the best.
Absolutely.
Okay, what do we got next?
Next question is, this is our trivia question for
yeah.
you. How many shades, you ready? How many shades are available in our Raquel Welch Vibrolite fiber? A, more than 40, B, more than 60, or C, more than 80? So,
just want to give you, it's a little, you know, if you want a little bit of help, don't ever moan. There's not a color for you in the collection.
Well, there's at least 40, right? So, all right, guys. So we'll give you the answer for that in a little bit. But since we're on the topic of color, someone asks, how do we get these beautiful colors since they are not human hair? Well, if you saw the video, what we do is we work from a base of raw colors and we blend those colors together to make highlights, to make low light colors, and then all of that gets assembled together to give you a multi-dimensional look. Once the base color is done, the roots get added after, okay? So if you go back to the video and you watch, you'll see them hackling hair and you'll see that blending. You'll also notice a dark strip in the middle of that. That's the color, the fiber that's been rooted. That always falls in the center so that when they tie it, that root color ends up at the base.
Yeah, fascinating. So, and just remember, my friends, this video will stay on Facebook and it will stay on YouTube. So if you want to go back and look at certain parts, because there's a lot to take in.
Yes.
So just remember, this will stay, my friends.
Yes. So a question we get a lot are, what are the fibers made of, right? Well, we use proprietary blends, so I can't disclose all of that. But I will tell you this. Our Raquel Welch Vibrolite fibers are made of a petroleum-based fiber, okay? Whereas our True to Life Heat stylable fibers are made from a polyester-based fiber. And
so
a question
can I just jump in here?
Yeah, please, Erynn.
For those that don't know what Vibrolite fiber is, because some don't, right?
You're right.
What does that mean?
A Vibrolite fiber is a monocrylic fiber, okay? Vibrolite is our blend that we use for the Raquel Welch. So that's why I was using Vibrolite, assuming everybody knew that. So thank you, Erynn.
That's okay.
So yes, and our True to Life fiber, which is our Raquel Welch Heat stylable fiber, is a polyester base.
Yeah.
One is heat stylable, one is not.
One we can use heat on. The Vibrolite, you can't use heat on.
Steam.
You can use steam, but I know people, if you're very good with wigs, I know people who have, you know, you still put your rollers, but the other fiber is the closest, the True to Life fiber, the closest thing you're going to get to real hair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And so a question we get in relation to True to Life fiber, which is polyester fiber, is why does my fiber mat up? Well, this is one of the disadvantages about fiber versus human hair is it does do that. And part of that reason is friction. We only get this from people who wear longer bobs and long styles. The people who wear shorter styles never complain. And that's because friction on our clothing. I don't know if you guys know this, but very rarely are you wearing clothing that is either 100% cotton, 100% silk, or 100% any natural material anymore. There are polymers and fibers like polyester that are created and blended into clothing. And the polyester fiber from the wig, when it rubs against other polyester fibers, creates friction, and that creates tangling and a little bit of matting. So it's very important that you be very diligent with your care of longer True to Life fiber wigs.
Yeah, longer wigs just need a bit more love and attention.
Yeah,
you know?
I would say just like longer hair, right?
Just like longer hair, just like naturally
Bio
curly hair. Yeah. You know, I got to brush the back of my hair out at least you know,
Once a year.
pushing it
Once
once
a
every
year.
6 years. No, I'm like, you know, I got it naturally curly hair. You know, underneath here, if I don't brush it, it turns into locks.
Yeah,
So,
and you know what?
You know,
True, that's a good point because you
Yeah.
know if I highlight his hair, I'm very cautious only to highlight the outgrowth because I don't want to over process the ends, right? But if I get highlights in my hair, I tell him just put this sucker under the dryer and fry it because you're going to cut off the first 2 inches anyway because
Yeah.
I wear it short. So there is a difference. Erynn, that looks stunning on you too.
Beautiful.
Which one is that?
So this is Scene Stealer in the color Shaded Ice Pumpkin Spice. And ladies, the reason why I put this on is because this is a great example of there's friction points galore, right? So if I'm caring for Scene Stealer or if I'm caring for portrait mode, it's going to look a little bit different, right? So long piece like this, you know what, wide tooth comb, starting at the bottom, making my way up. This is going to take a little bit more TLC than my portrait mode will. But guess what? For me, it's worth it. You just need to decide what's most important for you, right? When you're looking at styles and friction points and all the things.
Exactly. I mean, listen, our long hair wig lovers, they're gonna put up with it. They're gonna do what they need to do because when you love long hair, you love long hair. You do whatever it takes. So
yeah.
you know, but that looks stunning on you, Erynn. Love
Beautiful,
that.
Erynn.
And so another
What's
question
next?
that comes up outside of fibers is why do you sometimes have inconsistencies with your wig colors when you get them? So that is a very good question. But as we were saying before, and if you watch the video again, the wigs are not necessarily made the same days that the fibers are made, right? Or dyed or colored. And even the fibers get colored on different days and different time frames. So it's the same concept as when, let's say you were to carpet your bedroom. So you call the carpeting company, you pick a carpet, you do it, and you love it so much that a year and a half later, you decide you're going to carpet the other bedroom in the same color. You do, or maybe you butt it up together and it's slightly off.
Slightly.
And that's because different times, different production stages, and also different dye lots, variances in the dye lots, depending on when the color was made. So this is, unfortunately, something that you have to put up with a little bit. We have to put up with a little bit. But all of our colors do get inspected, and we do allow a tolerance. So we do look at it to make sure that it is within what we call tolerance, meaning that unless you put two wigs next to each other, exactly, if you just wore it out and your friends wouldn't know the difference, but you would if you put two together, right?
And remember, like you said, because it's handmade, the next person's taking over, you know, might just put it slightly bit more blonde in, slightly less. Now, of course, we're not saying if you're buying 5 wigs at a time and one is looking completely different, of course, there's something to say about that. But in general, they will just change tiny slightly.
Yes, absolutely.
Is it fair to say too, from style to style? So, you know, I wear a lot of shaded wheat right now, right? So I have it in portrait mode. If I had a different style, let's call selfie mode, with the same shaded wheat, as designers, you take a bit of liberty, am I correct, in deciding the distribution of the blend and where that falls by the style? Is that right?
Yes. When we're doing a style, we say, you know what, this style, a little bolder highlight would look better here. It would kind of give a little punch or panache. You know, we try to keep Raquel Welch as high fashion and current as possible. So there will be some changes. Sometimes a certain style dictates something different. For instance, if in a curly style or a wavy style, if we did a regular style, a color that blend that we did on a straight bob, let's say, you wouldn't see the highlights very much. So on a curly style, we have to punch up the highlights a little bit so they do become visible. So there are variances in the design within the actual color as applied to the specific style as well.
And if you leap into a new style, just remember, my friends, if you're wearing a long wig and you jump to a short wig, it's going to look different because you're not seeing as much as the ends. So just definitely different styles, colors will look different.
Absolutely.
What's next?
Next is another color question.
Okay,
I think this is related to Raquel Welch. It says, why is the lace or hair framing the face always a lighter shade? And I think what they're referring to is this here right in the front. Can you guys see this? They're talking about this highlight that we put in the front. We were the very first company to ever create a lighter front or lighter pieces in the front. Why is it like that? Because you know what? I like it that way. I think it looks more natural, and I'm the designer, and I like it that way. So, however, though, I know that doesn't suit everybody. I have a reason for it, and it's personal, and the way we do it, and how we do it, and what we look for when we're having it done by our technicians is kind of, you know, a personal thing and a proprietary thing. But I will tell you this: we do it there because if it's not there, you really can't put in a highlight. But if you don't like the highlight, right, you can use a little brow color. You could use a little mascara. You can even use like some Color Wow. What's that stuff? That Color
the
Wow.
powder.
You can use a tint. I've even seen it. We even teach in our class how to use a magic marker to do that. So you can, if you so desire, make that look softer, make that less evident if you like. But it's way harder to make it lighter. It's impossible to make it lighter as opposed to making it darker.
Yeah.
So just know that it's a flair. It's a flourish.
Yeah.
It's something we developed with Raquel. And
Raquel loved it. And it's just, we're just trying to emulate, if you went to a beautiful hair salon, we just want the hair to look perfect.
Yeah. And I know what you guys are talking about. I see.
I think number one, sorry to interrupt, but I think it creates some lightness and brightness to our face, right?
Yes.
By having that lighter shade. I would say in my experience, there are some shades that have more of a predominant highlight at the front than others. So and I would also say that Raquel Welch has amongst the best colors in the market. Like I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not blowing smoke.
Please don't
anybody.
tell the truth.
It is. No, but honestly, so, and I say that only to give you a suggestion that if there is a shade that has highlights that maybe is a little bit too light for you at the front, I guarantee you there is a stair step on either side of that color that you may want to explore and enjoy. You know, a great example, perhaps you absolutely love Shaded Biscuit, but you would like a little bit softer of a highlight at the front. Look at Shaded Sand. And if anybody ever needs help with that, like Lord knows I have a lot of Raquel Welch colors, right? So if anybody ever needs help, just send me a message.
You're so nice, Erynn. Look, she's offering up her talented services to everybody. I love it. But yeah, so that is it. And you know, again, we go back to all of these are handmade, right? So there's always going to be some variance, and you've seen it for yourself. These are made by people, not machines, right? And you know, there's the original Monet, and then there's a lot of copies, and a lot of them you can't tell the difference. So,
very true. Yeah.
So keep that in mind. You know, they're all copies of a copy. One of the things I will say about the light pieces in the front, on our styles, as we said, per style, it will vary. It'll look a little bit different because in some cases, styles we worked on, maybe Raquel wanted a big full blonde piece in the front. Maybe that was really trending when that style came out. And so we left it in there as part of, that was her signature. And so every style will have a little bit different, and they will change as we evolve and we make other looks.
Yep.
Okay, so we got to go back to our trivia question. How many shades available in Vibrolight Fiber, people? The answer to that in our Raquel Welch Vibrolight Fiber is C. There are more than 80 colors to choose from in our Raquel Welch Vibrolight colors. That is quite impressive, I have to say.
Very impressive. And we have enough colors. We have you covered.
If you can't find one out of 80.
And that's just Vibrolight, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not true to life.
I'm going to say this. If you can't find one color out of 80, you shouldn't have that color.
No.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We talked about, for everybody, we talked about this yesterday. I found out that piece of information yesterday. And man, if I was a betting girl, I would have been losing. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. And that's part of what has always made Raquel such a grand collection is the color choices, the selection, and the availability. Yeah. So 100%. Now I will tell you this, not all 80 colors are available in every wig, but you have to look at your little guide and get your catalog, the Bible, the Raquel Welch catalog, all the colors on the back, everything's listed, whatever you would need or whatever colors you want to know. If it comes in a certain style, it's all here. So check that out. Kyle's got the coloring. Hello.
I mean, think about it. The most successful makeup brands out there. had colors. You know, what put them on the top
Yeah.
was foundation colors for everybody. So we've done the same thing.
Yeah. I want to know, you guys tell me, is there a cosmetic company out there who offers 80 colors of foundation? That I want to know.
Okay.
All right. Next, you guys asked a bunch of questions about cap sizes. Cap sizes. So we're going to talk about that. Trivia question for cap sizes is, how many Raquel Welch wigs are available in a petite cap size? I want to hear from all our customers out there who are selling Raquel Welch wigs or wearing them. Do you know how many Raquel Welch wigs we have that come in a petite size? I didn't know. I had to look at this.
No, I know. I didn't know
Right?
myself. How shameful.
Right.
I'm excited.
So we're going to
I'm
answer
excited
some.
to see what people say.
And I know. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. So we'll talk about caps and sizing and personal fits, and then we'll come back and answer the trivia question. So the first question regarding cap sizes: why not offer more petites? Right? Why not offer more large caps? And the truth of the matter is we do get requests for these, but generally when we launch something in a petite or a large, we really don't see an exponential amount of sales related to it.
Very niche.
So it is a little bit niche. And so we work at very hard to provide caps that, you know, have adjusters on them so you can size them down. And we do find that the majority of people fall into average. So when we do have a style that does particularly well, we do launch it in a petite size and a large size. But people always say, how come you don't make, you know, too many average? And how come you don't make so many, or too many petite and too many large?
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to, we don't know exactly which ones you guys want. So it's important to know, and we're going to do some focus groups coming up actually, to kind of see which of our Raquel Welch wigs people think, you guys think, should be offered in petite and or large.
Yeah. And just remember, my friends, before, when I started in the wig industry 30 years ago, there was just average size wigs. These wigs can be made bigger,
yes,
made smaller. We love our wig shops, okay? If you want a wig sized, always remember, if a wig that you love doesn't come in petite, you can always get your wig sized.
Right.
Yes.
But I can't stress enough, go into your local wig shop. They are absolutely incredible.
Yes.
They can do it for you, or they can give you advice or offer something in petite. So
Yes.
remember, they can be sized.
Very much so. And it's like buying a dress online, right? You know, you either fits you like a glove, or you got to bring it to someone and get alterations so it really fits you like a glove, which brings me to a great question that Chrissy Robles asks. Hi, Chrissy. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Chrissy.
She said, why did they start adding low wefting to hand-tied wigs? I think by they, she means us.
Probably.
I think that's what you mean, Chrissy. But you know what, Chrissy? I'll tell you why. This is really important because a lot of people ask this when we launched the sheer luxury cap. You know, we said it was hand-tied, but we have wefts in the bottom. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because if you need to customize this, if you need to tighten this up because you are a petite cap, you have wefts with which to work with to make alterations to the cap so this will fit you. So again, we added that for density, so we have fullness here, but also so that you have some alterations options. And no word of lie, as I told you before, I think Erynn, you and I were talking about it. My sister's going through chemotherapy right now, and she has lost all her hair, and she loves the sheer luxury cap. But my sister's head is a little bit, well, not average shaped. It's like more oblong than it is wide. So this was really important because when she started to wear the sheer luxe cap, she was able to make alterations to it and fit her a little bit better. So sometimes we do that just so you can customize it a little bit. It's not like we're trying to, you know, pull a fast
No,
one.
everything's got a reason with design. Everything has got a reason.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, the more people can wear it, then more people can enjoy the style at the end of the day.
Totally.
Oh, here's the next one. How to measure your head.
Oh.
And actually, and why is this important? It's a twofold question. How to measure your head and why is this important? Well, we have illustrated this for you. Whoever asked this question, we've illustrated this for you. So the way you should measure your head is I would start with the tape at the very front of the hairline. Voila, comme ça. And then you run the tape measure right above where your ear would be, okay? This runs right along the occipital, okay? And then you bring it back up again to the originating part. And so this head form, for example, measures 21 inches, which, surprise, surprise, it's marked as 21 inches. I don't know if you guys could see that. So whoever manufactured this wig block, thank you very much, because you did it right. So that is how you measure. And if you were to look in our Raquel Welch catalog, if you were to look online at our HairUWear.com website, we give you measurements that you would fall within range to tighten or not tighten based with the, hook and loop adjusters in the back. You would fall in average, petite, petite average, or large for that matter as well. We tend to, as a wig industry, use that circumference measurement that I showed you as a guide to tell where you fall, what range you fall in. There are front to back measurements, of course, and there are, different measurements you can take. But the circumference is usually the most important and the most telling.
Yeah.
It's the most important.
If you find this a bit, much for you, or you think, oh, I don't want to do that, I can't do this, go into your local wig shop. Sorry, Erynn, what do you say, my love?
Well, I was just going to say there's a lot of people, saying, well, what about the front to the back and the ear to the ear and the circumference? I think the biggest message here that I want to make sure everybody's watching is your first step is always to measure, because I get a lot of questions and people sending me a message saying, Erynn, what would be a good first wig for me? And I say, okay, let's slow down the bus a little bit. What are your measurements? And generally, what are you looking for? And I love helping people with that, but measuring properly is really important. And the circumference being the most important. That front to back and ear to ear, unless you have 100% customized handmade wig for yourself, those second and third measurements aren't as important as your circumference. Would you guys agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and it's really, and I hate to say this because but we try to make these as versatile as possible. Obviously, these are not custom made wigs. You're not going in to a wig maker and getting a mold. And, it's not like when same thing like a couture gown, where you go in and you pick the fabric, right? And then you go for your first measurement and they take all your body weight. They do a first run of the gown, and then you go back and then they make alterations again. It is a mass-produced product. And so we know that they are very costly. And we know that when you are a wig wearer, that it does cost some money to wear wigs and to keep them fresh and keep them, looking great. And as a result, we try to make these as accommodating to most head shapes as possible. So that's why if you have questions, or if something's not fitting right, remember, you can go into shops, you can go into hairdressers and try to make adjustments to them. That's very important, so that you can customize it wherever you need to. And we do teach how to customize. We do HairUWear on the road classes throughout the year in all different cities. You can get a schedule of that. And we have a 2-day seminar, and we do teach you how to customize, how to stitch, where to cut, and also how to enlarge the wigs as well, so that you're more adept at working with the product, so that you can get a virtually custom fit and feel.
And remember, we've got something exclusive to us at HairUWear with Raquel Welch. We've got the memory caps, remember. So the memory cap, remember, you've only got to wear the wig for like 1 hour, and the unique stretch lace will stretch and sort of take mold to the sides of your head and take memory. If you wonder what memory cap means, it actually takes memory of the size of your head. That's exclusive to us, and it's an incredible feature.
Yes. And if you happen to be on the smaller cap size or smaller head size, think about our Memory Cap 3 cap, because that has silicone bands throughout it, which will help grip a little bit more and fill in the wig a little bit if you tend to be on the smaller than average size.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's important.
What's next, my friend?
Okay. What might cause a wig to gap or bubble at the crown? Again, it would be that front to back measurement. Okay. So if you have that, that means that this portion is not resting on your head. So you would need to shorten the distance in the nape, sometimes a 1/2 inch, sometimes an inch, to achieve that tighter stretch over the top, because that's why you're probably getting bunching.
Here's an easier answer though, because you're absolutely, obviously, Frank, you're 100%. But what it could be is that the nape is not pulled down far enough, and that the nape is sitting up too high up here, right?
Great
so
point.
Sometimes that can happen if we just haven't adjusted it. So don't give up and think, oh my gosh, I got to get it adjusted and all the things. First, just try pulling down the nape. And sometimes having a hair grip on underneath helps to keep that nape kind of tucked up underneath there, so that doesn't happen. So check that
Erynn,
first.
thank you for saying that, because that is so true. I just went to assuming everybody had it on right.
Right.
But
And that's why I'm here.
I love it. You're right, because that is the first thing. Make sure you have the nape sitting in the right place.
Yes.
Hello, I didn't even think of that. I went right to sizing, but
That's okay.
you're right. I think a lot of times people either wear it too far down on the forehead, and if they just move it back a little bit and stretch that a little bit, that's a great point. Make sure it's sitting right. Make sure those ear tabs are in the right place as well. And if you still have a little bit of that bump up there, then maybe it's time for an alteration.
Okay, next, my friends.
Okay, this is a great one.
Yeah.
Because I had to work with my sister on this one too. What do you do if your wig won't stop sliding back, right? Well, you need to get a grip. You need to get a grip. You need to get one of these, okay? Yeah. This is a wig grip, and basically this is a velvet band. It has a little see-through lace mono area here. So wherever you're wearing your part, you put this there. But this will help to grip your wig. It just affixes. We have the other mannequin. It just affixes around your head like a headband, and this velvet just kind of grips really well. So again, we're going to put it where the part line is. You're going to run this over your head and fasten it. And so you're going to see this. This will fill out the wig. This holds the wig in place. And again, this little monofilament area is where you're going to put your part. Okay, so if you want to wear it in the center, you zhuzh it over to the center. But these are great tools to help your wig from sliding off your head. Another option is regular old toupee tape. Okay, this is an adhesive tape. It's double stick tape. You can put this onto the lace area. If you have any kind of polyurethane in through the front, this sticks onto polyurethane as well. These are great tools to help the wig stick in place if it's riding back as you wear it during the day. Another thing, and if you are like pro wig wearer, there is lace glue. So I want you to consider lace glue. And you do this the same way as you would do eyelash glue. You kind of put it on your forehead, wait till it gets
better
a little
in that case.
Right? Right? You just put on, wait till it gets a little tacky, and then over and on with the wig lace, and you just press it on. Okay? So wig glue helps to keep this from shifting back as you're wearing it throughout the day. This was happening with my sister. Like, you gotta get the wig, you gotta get the glue.
Also now there's a big trend with the younger kids who like to put a strap in the back of their wig. And that works great as well, because you can just get a little piece of elastic and you can sew that in if you want.
Yeah.
There, and it can sort of tighten it all in the back as well.
Yeah,
so that's another option which works.
If you're wearing a grip and it's not holding, number one, it might be time to replace your grip. Number two, you may have the grip on backwards. So there is the right way to put it on. So when you run your finger from, let's say you have the grip on, if you run it from front to back, your finger from front to back, you're going to see that velvet or the velour lift up. If you have it on incorrectly and you run your finger front to back, it's going to be all smooth. So that's right. So make sure that you have it on right. Okay. So there's a tip for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are great. I never wore a wig grip. I wear a lot of wigs because, if I want to have my hair straight, I'll pop a wig on. They're great.
Yeah,
they're a game changer. At first I thought, I don't need one of them. But they do make a big difference. They're fantastic.
Yes. So if you're having trouble with your wig sliding, try these 3 simple tricks: wig grip, wig glue, or toupee tape. Wonderful options for that.
Okay.
Yvette asks us if we have to remove the glue after each use on the lace front. You know what, Yvette? You could probably use it a day or two, but it does kind of build up a little bit. I would just say, if you need to clean it, get a little rag, and just with rubbing alcohol, 90%, that will help to kind of remove the wig glue so that it's fresh again. And then when it's fresh, it always looks less obvious, right?
Yeah.
So if you let it build up, it's going to look could look scaly. So you want to clean that regularly, maybe every 2 uses, I would say is probably pretty good. All right.
All right.
Oh, I want to say Vicky writes in. Vicky, thank you for writing in, because she says another trick, and I didn't even think about this. We've done it, but I didn't think to mention it, is you could sew clips into your cap, right?
Yeah.
Little pressure sensitive clips you could put along here at the temples, so that it grips into your own natural hair. You can put them in the sides anywhere that the cap has velvet where you can stitch to. You don't want to stitch into a hand-tied cap unless you got a velvet band. But pressure-sensitive clips, yes. Hello, another obvious answer that we forget about.
Yeah, I want to say hello to my friend Francine. Hi, Francine. Francine is one of my models, actually, that I take on television.
Oh.
But Francine she doesn't mind me saying, because we use Francine, because Francine's head's gone a little bit fine. She's an actress, but she's just moved on to, she always wore wefted wigs and loved them.
Yeah.
But now she's moved on to Raquel Welch. She's gone on to lace and mono. So she's watching and she's loving stepping on. It's changing to have the mono and the lace front. So hi, Francine. I shall see you
Francine.
next week.
Hi, Francine.
HSN Gabor wigs.
So you guys, to answer the question, how many Raquel Welch wigs are available in a petite size? Well, guess what? The answer is 8. There are 8 wigs available in petite. So you know what that means.
So that's good option.
Yeah, it's a good starting point. That means we got to kind of see which ones people are wanting, and we're going to add more.
Yeah.
That is our goal.
But believe it or not, it's not. If they would ask for megally, we would have put them in. It's still very niche for us, my friends. Still very niche, but you've got some great options. And like I say, your wig shops will have them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. We got questions on style now. Remember, you guys, write us, enter in automatically just by answering the question. And then we have a giveaway at the very end of the show. So style questions. Our trivia question for style is, let's see how many of you guys know this. What is the longest style that we offer in the Raquel Welch wig collection? Anybody? Anybody? We'll give you the answer after we answer a few more
Gorgeous wig, by the way.
Yes. Okay. So the next question that we got here, Erynn, thanks to your wonderful viewers again, and all the people who subscribe to your channel at Real Wig Fun. So great that they wrote in and asked us these questions. So we're thrilled.
They're the best. They're the best.
Right? They are the best. You got the best. So the next question is, why do you predominantly make left part wigs?
Yeah, guys. Why?
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 It's quite simple, actually.
But
it's quite simple.
Yeah, you carry on.
Well,
but I'll tell you, because
the
that's
answer
something
is
that I
that
would.
majority rules, and the majority of people we find part their hair on the left side, except for him. But you know what? But most men part on the right side. Right. And most women part on the left side. It's a weird kind of phenomenon that we have kind of like learned and discovered a little bit. So that is why we do that, predominantly because majority rules right. But I'm going to show you, though, you can switch that a little bit, right? So the next question we got is, my wig keeps falling in my face. Hairspray doesn't hold it. Girl, you're using the wrong hairspray. Girl, come on. Like this? It just falls in front of your face like this? Okay. I'm going to show you what I do, okay? I mean, I actually pulled out the blow dryer this time. Of course, this is Raquel Welch, heat-friendly fiber. This is the wig Take a Bow. So we have lovely products. I'm going to start with our Restore product because Restore just kind of remist the wig, gives it a little bit of hydration and a little bit of conditioning. I'm going to start to apply the Restore directly to the front hairline of the wig, okay? And I'm going to let that get saturated. Now, I'm going to go in with my blow dryer on medium heat, and now I'm going to direct the hair away, okay? So just keep going in this. Don't go right on top of the hair, people. Keep your blow dry about 6 inches away, and you're going to direct this hair away. It will start to dry up. That's what you need to do. Just keep working through there in this backwards motion. Most of the time, the wig falls into the cap, it goes into the net, and then it sits in a box, and it just kind of loses its direction, if you will. So I also lift up and away as I'm styling, okay, to kind of move that hair and those knots in the direction I want it to go, which is back and off the face, okay? Now, you can stop there. Another thing you could do once you're finished is you can pull the hair up, and I like to use a clip, and you can let it sit like that overnight, right? And you will create a memory for that. But you will see, even in just doing this, just give it a little shake. It's still damp even.
So Frank, it's
Smooth
we
away.
talk about this a lot on my page too, right? About applying the heat and then letting it cool. And what
Yes.
was interesting is if everybody was here at the beginning and was watching, you know, the
Yeah.
factory and the steps that it took, it heated and baked in the style and then it cooled them. So whenever
Yes.
we're looking to get stuff away from our face, we're replicating those steps, right?
Exactly, and that's what we're doing. We're heating up the fiber, and we're just moving it away. And you know, you can even clip it off to the side if you want to give like this a little bit of lift. You know, just like that. But a little bit of heat is all you need. Medium heat. Feel it with your hands. When you just feel that it's just getting dry, right? Most of the moisture has come out of it. You know, then you know it's ready to go. Okay, so and to that end, I want to say, because even if you have a left side mono part, it's the same principle if you want to wear the wig worn to the right. With a full mono top, with a fully hand-tied top, set the wig on the side you want to part it. Again, you're going to remist with a little bit of the Restore spray, which I do use regularly, and now you're going to direct the hair in that fashion. So I kind of lift up a little bit. I think it's very important to lift the roots, heat those roots up, right? And work the fiber over. So think of it as up and over, okay? Same thing on the opposite side of the part. You're going to heat up and over.
But you know what? One
And
thing that I find, guys, is that with my Raquel Welch wigs, with most of them, changing up the part is easier than on some other brands, right? Like, for example, this one right now, I had it parted on the left. It's a full monofilament top. This is brand new, this style. Like, I've worn it once. And look at, I didn't put any heat on it. I just used my fingers, right? I get in there to kind of muss up the fibers a little bit and get them kind of encouraged. And you know what? I mean, yeah, I could use a little bit of heat on it to do it, but look at how freaking good the mono top looks.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and if you're not good with hair, you know, and you're a little bit scared of taking the heat or styling it, I do the same thing with mine. I pop a pair of sunglasses in it or an Alice band, and I spray the front, let the hairspray dry, and take it out, and then it literally will just stay away from the face. But I like my wigs away from the face.
Yeah. So, you know, I would let this dry a little bit like this. I like to sometimes set it like this. I like to see a little bit of reveal, and then I just clip the fringe off to the side. So it just keeps that kind of open kind of feeling going through it. So, and you can see, I mean, really very easy to change that. So don't be discouraged if you are a right part wearer or a left part wearer. That's the beauty when we talk about heat stylable fiber, is that you can't shift it. Just as Erynn did so simply with just the warmth and heat from her hands, or with the blow dryer and a little bit of a brush.
Yeah. So just remember, hand-tied top, monofilament top, you can change the direct. This actually just acts like a human scalp. Okay, so like I say, I am one who wears it the other way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. You can just change it exactly how you would your own hair.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think in fairness, not to belabor the point, but I think in fairness, the question is the mono part versus the mono top. Why do we make so many left-handed why mono parts primarily are left versus right? And it's because of preference, right? Kind of the majority rules. Is that fair?
So exactly, Erynn. Basically, why we do left side mono parts is because a mono part is more efficient and more affordable to create, and the retail price would be less as a result of that than if we made a full mono top. right? Because remember, single hairs, that takes a long time. It's more
Right.
labor intensive. So if we're going to do a mono part, in general, and there's other factors that, you know, make up the cost of a wig and the labor of a wig, but in general, we get that mono feature. Where do we put it? Well, we're
Yep.
going to put it on the side where most people wear it.
Fair enough. Got it.
Yeah. So that's that. Okay.
Fabulous. So
The
next
next question is, what are the best hair care products? HairUWear. No.
Why are
best
you
hair care
laughing?
product-
It's true. Why
It
are
is,
you
it
laughing? It's true.
I'm laughing because, of course, that's what everyone expected me to say. But we helped to develop these products. We're very proud of them.
Yeah.
So don't mock us for being
Guys,
proud of them.
I'm
Our wet
gonna tell you this, okay? I am not naming other brands because that's just not my style. I have tried almost all of them available on the market, and hands down, like my HairUWear Cleanse and Restore are my favorites. I have had other wig synthetic shampoos that have made my fibers feel gummy and yuck. I go back to it all the time.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with it. You can't.
Yes. All of these products are created by a lab that we selected to make them. All of them interact together. All of the chemicals, all of the products are designed for synthetic fibers and work together to either enhance the fiber, dissolve easily, because obviously you want to wash your wigs in cold water. So using a professional wig line is very important. It's not, you can use stuff obviously from the local store or whatever, but if you want to enhance your wig and you also want to prolong the life of it, I'm telling you, these are specifically formulated for fiber, not bio hair. You can use it on bio hair without any detriment.
Yeah.
But so I like the Cleanse. A cap full of this in cold water, great to break down hairsprays and styling gels and things like that. Then after that, I would use the Restore to comb through and retangle, and also use this as a refreshing style spray, as I did today. If you're going to use a curling iron or you're going to use heat, a light mist of the Protect, which we just launched, is very good. Comb it through and then let it sit, and then you're going to put your heat on after you know that you've misted this on. You don't need a lot of this, you guys.
Okay.
Like,
Frank, one of the the real specific question that I know some of the ladies wanted to know. So I spray it on, right? The heat protectant on, the Protect.
Yeah.
Do I wait for it to dry, or do I apply the heat while it's still damp or wet? I think you illustrated that with the dryer.
If you're heavy-handed, you don't wait. But I'm just saying you need to just go like this. Hold on. There you go. You go. And now you comb through, and yes, you're ready to apply your heat.
Okay. Got it.
So you don't have to wait. But if you're the type of person, if you're like, you're like running that through like, crazy, you might even have to blot it. I mean, this is so concentrated. You just need a little bit. So be mindful of that. And then what do you got to style with?
Yeah, I've got this. This is the shape spray, which is beautiful. So remember, this is like your gel spray, your hold spray. Once again, designed for fiber. So it's beautiful. It brushes out nice. It's not too gunky, not too heavy. You don't need a lot.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. And then I just want to talk about this quickly. This is our Refresh spray, my friend. So this is brand new. It's been out not that long, and it's absolutely beautiful. So this is sort of like those brands out there where you can spritz the clothes to smell good. This is like a deodorizing spray. You can spritz the inside of the wig. You can lightly mist the outside of the wig. Great if you don't want to wash your wig too much.
Yes.
It also, it's got the most divine smell to this. Absolutely beautiful. Took this on air the last time I was on, and it went like crazy because sometimes you just might be traveling and you just want to give the wig a quick
you don't have time to shampoo.
And you don't have time to fresh.
Yeah.
Spray the inside, let the air get to it. This is gorgeous. A must for all wig shops as well, my friends. A new product.
Chanel, I don't know if they still do, but Chanel used to have a hair spray because they used to have a client who would come in the shop, and after I was done styling her hair, she's like, she would hand me the Chanel It was hair perfume.
Yeah, I remember
perfume.
somebody came to us once with a hair perfume
Yeah.
and wanted us to take it. This is beautiful. As you say, I live for the one that we use on fabrics and clothes.
Absolutely.
You know, I really
I
get
love it. I just love that it means I have to wash my wig less. That's
Absolutely.
Yes,
sounding
I
Yeah.
know. It's a time
Absolutely.
saver.
But it's
Right?
great. Great
It's a time
smell.
saver.
So look at this, guys. We've got a fantastic range of wet line. Check it out. Any new wig businesses out there as well, you must have this in your shop.
Yes, indeed.
Because it's such a great add-on sale and it's brilliant product.
Yes.
What is next?
Next,
Time is flying.
Next is, do heat-friendly wigs need regular heat? Erynn, we talked about this. What do you suppose they're asking by that? Tell me what you think they're asking. I think you know, but tell me what.
What they mean is everybody out there that they're watching is saying, you know, heat defying or heat friendly fiber needs heat in order for it to continue looking and feeling good. And what it really means, and what we are trying to help educate everybody on, is that it helps to maintain the fibers so that they look and feel their best. Number one, do not let your fibers get to be a hot mess before you apply heat. So if I'm wearing Mesmerize, you know, that really long one I had on earlier, there's a lot more friction points. Portrait mode, I'm going to very rarely have to apply any heat to, but Mesmerize, probably a little bit more. And how often I do that is it's hard to be very direct with you on what that means, because I could wear my wig one day for 2 hours and Frank could wear his wig one day for 8 hours. So you need to take a look at it. And if it's starting to feel a little bit thicker, if it's starting to feel a little bit crunchy, apply some heat and consider that a bit of your maintenance to maintain those fibers to look and feel their best for the longest period of time they can.
Absolutely. And exactly, Erynn, the longer the wig, the more, the more opportunity it has to rub on your clothing, to create friction, to kind of, tangle and mat up a little bit. So if you are someone who loves long wigs and you wear your long wig, you want to maintain it the best way possible, right? So if you're extra particular, it's much easier to keep up with heat styling it every day than it would be to let kind of that tangle kind of build up for 2 weeks and then try to do it, right? And the way you do that is I like to use like a heat comb styler like this, okay? What this is this has heat coils on the inside and it protects you from touching it, right, on the outside. This heats up, and as a heat comb, this is an implement. All you do is at the end of the day, when you're putting your wig, and I think you all should have wig blocks, because I can't do this without a wig block. If I put this on the stand, it just keeps flopping off. So get yourself a nice wig block. You just put this in, right? Take your section, and you're just going to work the hair through the brush like this. And so this just smooths it out. And you can do that every night, a couple passes, mostly from the nape down, and that will preserve the life of your wig. And I think by that meaning, do you need regular heat? Yes.
It helps.
It helps on the long wigs, but if you don't really rough up your wigs too much, you can do it every other couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to help out those that can't afford, don't have the means, or don't want to buy a blockhead right now. Tip ladies, styrofoam head. Put your hair grip, your wig grip on it, and then put your wig on, and then apply the heat. Okay, Frank is absolutely right. The block is the best, but this can work in between what you have now and what you want to get later. Okay.
Yes. So if you're a demure, subtle, gentle, elegant woman like Erynn, take her advice. If you're a roughhouseian like he and I, you're gonna need.
But you are right. Great investment if you're a big wig wearer.
Absolutely.
Everybody's getting wig wardrobes now, which I love. Great
Absolutely.
investment. Okay, my friends. I think,
Well,
how are we doing?
I think we've answered all your questions,
I think
but the
we
answer
have.
to the trivia question.
Oh yeah.
What is the longest style, people, in the Raquel Welch collection? That style is downtime.
Gorgeous.
Downtime
wig.
is a long wig. It's the longest wig we make. And it's also available in Vibrolite fiber, over 80 colors to choose from, right?
Yeah.
Scan that QR code if you're interested in a really long wig like Downtime. And that is the longest one that we offer.
And it's a gorgeous style. Glamorous, sexy, beautiful curl to it. Fabulous.
It sure is. And so, you guys, today we are giving away a Winner wig. Winner is one of our top selling styles. And guess what? Winner comes hand-tied. Winner comes wefted. Winner comes large. Winner comes small. Winner comes
lace front.
Lace front, without lace front. You get to pick whichever Winner wig you want to give a ride.
That's right. Yeah. I think it's a best-selling wig loved by the whole world.
It is. It also comes in an ultra petite for all you petite people asking about petite wigs. So scan the QR code if you want more information on Winner. And the winner
of
Winner is Letha Robinson Fisher.
Whoa.
Letha, thank you so much for watching today, and thank you for joining us on this journey.
Congratulations, my love. Congratulations.
We covered a lot of ground.
Yes, we did.
Erynn, my love.
Yes. Well, you know, you guys were amazing. And for everybody that hung out with us for the entire time, you're the real stars. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope that everybody got out of this what I did, which is so much incredible information that if HairUWear had not put this forward, I'm guessing many of us would never know this type of thing. So I think the next time we all take our wig out of the box and put it on, we will have a new found respect for what has gone into it. So thank you for including me.
Of course, Erynn, thank you for joining us today. I mean, yes, when you pull out that wig from that box, understand it is an artisanal piece of art made by the collective talents of many people. And I think that's the way to look at it. And, you know, of course, we try to deliver a unique product, but also a consistent product to high degrees, high standards. That's why we have our own QC people there. That's why Kyle and I check production as it's going through. And we have a quality control team here in Kansas City. Everyone trying to make sure you get the best, highest quality product consistently every time. Because it's not just good one time. You got to have that all the time.
Yeah.
That's what makes something good.
Yeah. Just give your wig some love, my friends, because a lot of work gone into it. You know, next time, as you say, don't toss them around. Give them some love because there's a lot of work.
Yes. And to everybody watching, all of Erynn's followers, all the people who follow us, really a heartfelt thank you, because we knew there was a lot of material in the show. We knew it was going to be a long show. And so many of you just hung in there with us for the whole time. We can't possibly thank you all, but we're going to try. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, my friends. Normally say hi to our people. We didn't have time.
No.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Erynn. You're always incredible.
Absolutely.
You guys are awesome. Thank you, everybody. I hope you had fun.
Keep doing the good work, Erynn.
Thank you. You too, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.
Take care.